Welcome to One Man at a Time, the KEMEN Show. Please like and subscribe to our channel.
The KEMEN Show. We are strong together.
This is another beautiful Saturday. We bring you this show, family faith and health focus show, presented to you by KEMEN. KEMN is a men's organization in diaspora that takes care of men. Check us out on Facebook and on our KEMEN.org. Thank you very much for tuning in today. And as we see our guest here, Monica Degwa, and we have Lucy Simiyu, my co-host here. We come here every Saturday. We focus on family, and also we focus on the whole entire family, and also we focus on diseases that affect the whole family, be it physical, be it social, other issues that we take on the whole family. Thank you very much for tuning in. We take our apologies because we had several technical issues and we were not able to come in right in time. But hey, better late than never. And we say that we're gonna be doing this show regardless of technical problems that has taken almost 1 hour. So thank you for accepting our apologies and welcome to the show. I can see my co-host here, Lucy. How is Lucy? How is your week? How is Dallas, Texas?
Actually, it's Houston, Texas. It's well. Of course, we experienced some storms here. Big on weather. We are good. It's rainy. And like we said, we apologize for the delay, but we are here. And today we continue to discuss on the subject that we started last week. Is that what you wanted us to talk about?
Yeah, we're going to continue on that managing managing of chronic diseases in marginalized communities.
Yes, yes. So that said, we have our guest today. That's Monica Ndegwa. Monica is welcome, Monica. She's here with me in Houston, Texas, and she is a school nurse, a registered nurse, MSN, and also she is actually pursuing her doctorate in organizational leadership. Applaud you, my sister. And also she is married to her dear husband for 20 years and has 3 teenage boys. So we are glad to have you again to talk about this issue. And as I asked earlier, we all know, most of us may not even know that heart disease is the leading cause of death. The leading cause of death for men and women. But we have at least some hope because with modification of lifestyle, lifestyle changes, we can reduce that risk and by about 80%. So that's what we are here to discuss with our guest, Monica. You can take us through that preventative care. Welcome, Monica.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Lucy. I'm excited. We're getting to continue with this topic. And I think the best place probably to start is to just touch on a little bit about heart disease and what are we talking about here. So there are many types of heart disease, but for this particular conversation, we're really talking about coronary artery disease and heart attacks, really. So kind of understanding how it happens and then why we now do need to make the lifestyle changes that we're going to talk about. So the main thing with heart attacks is mostly they start with, coronary artery disease, which is just buildup of plaque. Plaque is buildup of cholesterol and other particles that build up inside the arteries, on the lining of the arteries. So the more that this plaque builds up, then it causes narrowing of the arteries, and it can also cause blockage. So say like a small piece of that plaque, pulls off, If it pulls off and some bleeding starts there, then the body's natural reaction is to form a clot, So it's going to form a clot there, which is then either the clot or even the plaque alone can cause blockage now in the artery. So that's where now a heart attack is going to occur because of that. Because now with that, there'll be blockage of blood flow to the heart. So now, based on that, the reason why we need to talk about this is the plaque itself. the cholesterol, and how to prevent all that now from occurring. So in that sense, with that understanding, then we look at what are the risk factors that now increase our chances of actually, getting heart disease. And also, like I was saying, with many types of heart disease, you can also have an enlarged heart, which can come from just the force that the heart now has to push blood through an artery that is now getting smaller because of the plaque. You see? So that can cause the heart to enlarge. It can also cause the arteries themselves to, expand and cause an aneurysm to occur or something like that. So the issue now with the plaque is the cholesterol. That's what we need to be watching here now. But now, when it comes to heart disease, there are things that you can control and there are things that you have no control over. You see? So we also have to consider that. So some of the factors, for example, that increase our chances will be like, high blood pressure, diabetes, you see, obesity, which now those things can also be linked to genetics. You see, they can be linked to genetics. Your chances can be higher just because of your genes. Your chances can be higher because of your race. So obviously things like high blood pressure and diabetes, they tend to be more prominent with Black people. So just by being probably a Black person, being a woman probably, and stuff like that could increase your chances, just that. So now what you can control is what you try to control. And so those type of things, from things that cannot be controlled, you can now have diseases now that I'm talking about, high blood pressure, diabetes, and those ones that really are coming from your genetics first, right? Your genetic makeup. Then they are now fueled further by your lifestyle. And now you have lifestyle, you have choices. And this is where now we have control. That's what we want to talk about today.
Sure. It's my right. Are you telling me not to eat those food? It's my right, my choice. Then why are you not telling me? Why are you telling me what to eat and what not to eat? It's my choice. I can choose it. It's not your right. It's mine. So who cares if I get diabetes? Who cares if I build up plaque in my system, in my veins, and the next thing I know, I have stroke, and the next thing I know, or I'm so obese that I can't even breathe. I have sleep apnea. I have all these chronic issues, and anyway, I'm just saying because that's what I go and do every day. Tell people, educating people.
Yeah, some people do say that though.
We had a doctor here last weekend who told us, especially in Kenya, that's like you cannot. It's like, who are you telling me what to eat and what not what to eat? So and that's the problem we have, and even with socioeconomic issues, we have seen them since we are talking about marginalized communities and marginalized people, especially in the diaspora. You have seen every single McDonald's and fast food are popping up in rural socioeconomic areas, and it's no brainer who are in those rural socioeconomic areas. Black and brown people, it's Hispanic and Black people, and that's what the system gives them. That's what they can afford, and that's why they're being pushed up. If you put somebody on the welfare and pay them $300 a month and give them a free house of Chennai, and go what is in your communities. You push McDonald's, you push liquor store in every single corner of your communities. What kind of lifestyle are they gonna be living there? They're gonna be the only thing they can afford is those food, and
exactly.
Even if it's making it so hard for healthcare educators and clinicians to tell people, to educate people what to do if the only thing they can afford is what's in their community. In their community, they don't have any health or good health food stores.
And that's true. Okay, and that's very true about the lifestyle. With the communities and people that are affected. Unfortunately, like you have said, Monica, there are some things that whether you are from those marginalized communities or not, there are some lifestyles. For example, smoking. Maybe you could speak into that. Alcohol assumption. Choices. the consumption of alcohol, regular checkups. Someone might say, hey, I don't have health insurance, but we have all these facilities where people can go for checkup, and also getting enough sleep. We know that's also very important. So how would you speak to those people that have those kind of, making those kind of choices? And we know these things are affecting, or these factors of smoking, alcohol consumption, and managing stress and regular checkups, all that come into play when it comes to preventing heart diseases.
I think here is where education comes in, because people don't care about what they don't know. You see? So by hosting, for example, just a simple conversation like this one, dialogue like this that starts the conversation, then somebody who could be saying, it's my life, my choice, then now they get to hear, this is why I'm telling you not to eat what you're eating. You see? For this plaque buildup, for example, the best thing to do is to cut out cholesterol, right? Now, cholesterol has always been like the big, like the danger here. But for me, I'm more worried about saturated fat than I am so much about cholesterol itself. And so,
might be for the layman, for the, the very person who has no idea of what cholesterol is, or saturated or, unsaturated fats, maybe we could go into the in-depth of the type of foods that, the food there is, for us to understand what exactly we need to eat and not to eat.
Yeah, so like I was saying, you might find like foods that have high cholesterol, saturated fat and trans fats, right? Foods like those are the most dangerous, because don't forget, the body makes some cholesterol. The body does make some cholesterol,
It needs.
Yeah, it does. It's just that now when you give it too much extra now, but for example, someone might think that the egg yolks, like in my opinion, the egg yolks might not be as bad to me as somebody, like if somebody woke up and ate, made 2 eggs and they were whole eggs with the egg yolks. That might not be bad to me as somebody who made a sandwich with an egg, with that had cheese, and then they ate that sandwich that had cheese and they drank a glass of milk. Because to me, I feel like there's saturated fat in milk and cheese that I feel dairy is more dangerous to me than eating that egg, if you ask me. But and then again, there's the issue of moderation. See, moderation is key here. But the whole point is to try and stay more with grains and plant-based foods, to stay away from red meat. Basically, eat from the farm, not from the factory. If you have that sense in your mind, that simple statement, when you go to the store and you think, I'm going to the farm and not to the factory. So you stay away from processed foods. You see?
Sure.
So do you stay with nyama choma or red meat?
Yes, you limit your production, your consumption.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Don't go eat gym every weekend by yourself, or the 3 months you're there. You're just there eating red meat over and over, and that's what I tell even people with diabetes. It's not, most of the food it's like you cannot eat it. It's like eat in moderation, and that's what the clinician tells you. Eat in moderation. You wanna, and another thing I like our people to know is how to check the food labels. You go to the store and you want to buy something. You want to know how much saturated fat this thing has, or this item has, or how much cholesterol this item has. It's clearly written there. You have this amount of grams of saturated fat. You ask yourself, do I have to buy this one, or do I have to buy this one? The other one with the raw may be a little bit expensive, but it's not expensive with more than $1 or $2. So would you rather spend $1 or $2 more, or buy this one thing with way too much saturated fat and spend thousands of dollars to buy medication or be getting sick. That's one difference we should understand about people. The other thing about our people, and Rusi still talked about it, and this is what we do with KEMEN, is about people not going for checkups and going to the hospital when it's too late, even when they are in diaspora. I know I used to be one of them. I'm gonna confess here. I go there, I start my job, I get a full health insurance, and since I don't feel any sickness, I don't go get checked up. I don't even use my PTO. Imagine I didn't take vacation. I was like, people are taking vacation. People are going out. They can afford. How can these people afford not to be at work for 2 weeks? But they are using their PTOs, which I have. At the end of the day, when you are quitting your job, you have like 600-700 PTO accumulated, and like they are telling you, you can only cash this by at half the price of your our pay. I'm like, how comes I did not take all these vacations hours I have accumulated here for what? And also you have a health insurance. Go get checked up, because how would you know if you have a problem if you're not getting checked up? And this is a difference we have here, and both those people who are marginalized or who doesn't have health insurance, especially we had our doctor here from Kenya. If you're in diaspora and you have a health insurance and you're not using it, then you are putting yourself to fail health-wise, because most people think I'm still good. One thing, when I got my health insurance, when I start using my health insurance, when I got it, when I went there, I found out I need eyeglasses, I need this, I need that, and I didn't know that I was failing so hard on that area, and I was like struggling to drive at night, and most people doesn't understand that. So I was one of them, and I keep advocating for people, go get checked up, go get your annual physicals, even when, especially women and ladies, our ladies in diaspora, young ladies, the problem we have nowadays, and even the young men, is that people are getting to hospitals nowadays and get diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer, stage 4 colon cancer, stage 4 of this cancer of this type, stage this, or I'm having headache. They're getting stroke in their 30s and their 40s, but they never go get checked to be told you have this. Even people are not even getting checked of diabetes, and when you have diabetes and you don't know it, and it's the other symptoms that is taking you to the hospital, and then check your hemoglobin A1C is 14%, then it's too late. You're already going to kidney failure. You have you have a lot of other issues. Your diabetes pretty much has eaten you inside out. And by the way, it could have been caught way like 10 years before. Even the cancer could have been caught like way 10 years before. And that's why we are failing. And we are failing because we don't have what's needed to go get checked. And Rusi hit on a very good point. People are not using the public health, community health help out there, because in each and every county in this country, in the United States, when I speak to people in diaspora, there is a public public health department. You don't have to have insurance to walk in there and get your lab work done. Especially where in California, our country is very good. You walk in there, especially it's a lady. You walk there, you're a woman. You're gonna get out there with an insurance that does not expire. That's gonna take you the whole 9 yards of how they check women, be it pap smear, be it mammogram, be it everything to do with women health. They're gonna give you that card. It doesn't matter if you are citizen, non-citizen. You have no single paper. All you need is a name to identify your name and say, this is my name. That's all you need. You don't need anything. You walk in there, people fear from far. You walk in there, they say, my name is Jane Doe or Jane Kawajiro, and you're gonna get out there with an insurance that you can walk in emergency room, or walk in there anywhere, that's county hospital, and you can have all these checkup. And actually, most of the time they even schedule you to go get checked. So let us not fear. Let us use the resources that we have, and we stop fearing from far. Let us not wait until it's too late, because sometimes it's not that we are marginalized. We are marginalizing ourselves. We are complaining about the system to be so bad against us, but we are not using resources in our system. And our guest here today, Monica, can even tell us how all this, there are so many community assistance programs that especially on women. This country is good in taking care of women much more than men, because when I take people to those new people in this country to those community public community clinics, they work out with a lot more than I can take a man work out with. So
Yeah,
that's my
true.
say.
True. Over to you, Monica.
Yes. So let me continue with some of the things to look out for.
Yes.
So I think probably the worst thing that somebody could be doing is smoking cigarettes. So tobacco is probably the worst thing you can do for your heart. So if somebody is smoking is difficult to stop. It's really, really difficult once you get addicted, but possibly starting to consider cutting down on smoking cigarettes, you know. I hear even, the nicotine patches are good when you're trying to stop, as a way of helping you, but not as to replace, the long-term use of tobacco. So those two things, if somebody can stay away from, that's going to be good for their heart. But so we talked about things that we cannot control, and then we now talked about things that we can control, which is diet. So these are just our behaviors, really. We have diet, we have our activity level. Is your life too sedentary? What kind of foods are you eating? So we've already talked, the best kind of diet to stick to is a Mediterranean diet. Stick to a Mediterranean diet.
What is the difference? Now, me, I'm Kenyan. So what is Mediterranean?
So a Mediterranean diet is more plant-based and like grain-based. So it has fiber, more of grains and plant-based.
So things like kale,
vegetables.
Spinach. Yes. Yeah, we could name them.
Watu wakule ugali na mchele with dengu and beans, kuleni those ones. If you eat chapatis, often don't do the white ones. Try to do the whole grain ones, chapatis, the atta chapatis. So then also, so that diet is more of plant-based diet. It stays away from a lot of dairy. So, and then also it has, so you have the plant-based foods, you have olive oil, you have fish, you see? So if people ate like that, whole grains, fish, those healthy oils, and don't do too much dairy, especially the cheese and the milk. I know that is given a lot to the kids when they're growing up, which is okay because that's good at that time to help with brain development. But at some point, the milk should go from whole milk to 2% milk, probably 1%, and then go reducing the quantity of milk that you are giving, and cheese and bread.
As you have said, I want to cut you there short. As you have said, when I grew up in Kenya, I didn't know the difference between whole milk, 1%, 2%. I keep drinking all the whole milk straight from the cow.
It's too much fat.
When I come here, it's too much fat, but at the same time, the level of activity was different here. And one thing I want to touch about level of activity, because that's one thing that's happened pretty much causing havoc in Kenya right now. We have motorbikes. Motorbikes came in to wreak havoc in our old generation. And we have seen the CT skyrocket, blood pressure skyrocket, strokes skyrocket. People are just getting sick and sick and sick because the level of exercise pretty much has gone down. Well, people are not actually nowadays. People are
walking.
Walking. We used to go to church, everywhere. We used to go to the market, and our mothers and our fathers right now they are just the sedentary lifestyle of they cannot even walk a half of a kilometer. They cannot even walk half a mile. They have a motorbike that's gonna get them there. And I would say let's encourage walking. Let's encourage healthy exercising. And especially those people in diaspora, because please get out, and you don't have to have a gym. I tell people the tarmac is free. In each and every single community you're gonna go, there's a park, there's somewhere to walk, there's a pavement. Get out and walk. Nobody's gonna look at you as funny. Walk, exercise, get something you do. You can even work out in your own houses. I've seen ladies, they even have these free programs from YouTube. They just work out in their own houses, perfect in their own houses. So exercise is something that's very, very, very good, and that's one I'm going to advocate much more and more and more. And our sister is advocating for that. It's like it's weight loss program in this country is a multi-billion-dollar programs in this country everywhere. Does it have to be a multi-billion-dollar? No.
No.
Yes, go ahead, Monica.
Actually,
Yes,
you know what, before even Monica speaks about that, some of the things, especially even for us in Kenya, we are adopting things that we should not even be adopting at all.
Yeah.
Before, when I don't know about you people, when I grew up in Kenya, we walked into those kindergartens. We walked to Sunday school. We walked. I remember there's a lady right now. I think she's 72. The lady that took care of us. She's still alive and active and still coming to do the work, the shamba, the garden work that she used to do those years. She's still alive. That time we thought maybe she was poor because she didn't have a vehicle, but she's the most wealthy person today. She's very, very healthy, because they walk a lot. So, and when you talk about this country, it's about also policies. We don't have to have people, we have all this food chain, they're called food stores. The 7-Eleven, what do you call them? These small, those stores, yes. The food stores at every gas station is a food store. And they have all these foods that are cooking. Unfortunately, that is America. When I actually visited myself, I did my health global management in Germany. You see 70, 80-year-old walking. They walk everywhere. We don't have those food stores. It's something we can borrow from Europe. The cases of obesity are so low because people walk. They walk to the train station. They walk. But here is, take me to, mom, walk me to school. Even us, we don't even walk to church anymore. So I think a lot is being called for, managing our lifestyles. And while we're still there, might be, I don't know which other part we want to talk about, but also, Ms. Monica, as you continue to elaborate, could you please also share how the link between stress and heart disease? It's not very well understood, but there's a link on managing stress and heart diseases.
Yes. I think also heart disease, one thing we forgot to mention is the added sugar. Staying away from added sugar. So, don't buy this Capri Sun and these juices for the kids. Encourage water, encourage a lot. I used to be that way, before I became educated. I think that's why I am always talking about education being so important. And I thought, when I go to the store, at least I'm buying apple juice. It's 100% apple juice.
It's education and mom guilt. You're guilty. Yes. You have to treat them.
Our kids don't need these juices. As much as you think they do, you don't have to buy juice. Encourage drinking water. And, sometimes, just watching and teaching your children to watch their urine when they go to the restroom. Tell them how to identify the color of their urine. So in my household, I would teach my kids all the time, if you're seeing orange, that's not good. I used to just be telling them like their kidneys are going to be burning up. So they wanted to see clear urine that is not so dark, which then would mean they would have to drink a little bit more water, So we don't need this. We don't need added sugar. If you're adding sugar, you should not be adding more than 6 teaspoons of sugar. In my thinking, from what I have studied, I don't think anything more than 6 teaspoons of sugar that you've added throughout the day is healthy for you. Same with salt. Salt, you want to try to stay below 2,400. Now, if you just learn how to start watching the ingredients package, like the ingredients, the labels, the food labels, and see how much salt is in what we eat. It's crazy. You eat one little thing, it has like 300 milligrams of salt, 500 milligrams of salt, and you're trying to stay below that 2,400. So now if you go shaking salt onto your food, you make things worse. One thing for sure you can stay without is sugar. That you can do. Your body can totally do without it. But in terms of stress, so that's another thing I was going to say, you're 5 times more likely to have a heart attack after a very serious argument with someone. And that's also, a lot of things could come from that also. They could come from, remember, we started with the plaque buildup. So this has been building up. Your arteries have been building up with plaque, building up with plaque. Now, it is getting to that point, maybe even a little bit piece chipped off, and now you have some bleeding and there has been some clotting that has taken place. Now you are a ticking time bomb. Already your heart has to pump harder to get enough blood to go through that already smaller artery now. Now you get into a heated argument, your heart racing. You know, you are pumped. Your heart is trying to work harder and pump harder. The chances that you're going to get a heart attack is going to be that big. You see, it's just all that pressure and all that work that is going to come from that. But also, stress contributes to how much cortisol is in your body, how much all that stress build up, which also contributes to weight gain. And the weight that you want to worry about is the one that is sitting here around your abdomen. That weight that sits around your belly, especially for our guys, that's the weight that you don't want to have. That's the dangerous weight. That one, that's the one that kills you, the fat that is around your belly like that. So in terms of that, some of the things that you might start to experience if you have blockage or plaque is, you know, chest pain, which is known as angina. You know, you will have chest pain. It can feel like shoulder pain, that's kind of like over here. Some people, when we are about to have attack, may feel it coming up all the way to the jaw, feels like jaw pain. So it can feel that way, mainly because the heart doesn't really have nerves for pain. So that pain is like radiating to other areas. You see, you might have shortness of breath, you get tired easily. That can come from the fact that you're not probably getting as much oxygen in your body because of that, of the blockage that you may already have in your arteries. So for somebody who might be feeling like my body, my choice, that is what your diet is going to lead you to. Your sedentary lifestyle, smoking, excessive alcohol. They say that for women should not have more than 1 drink a day. I think, I'm not sure how many ounces we're talking about. I think it's a 12-ounce bottle of beer versus a shot. So like that, 1 shot. So 1 drink a day. And men, not more than 2. Now, we know in our community, that's not a reality. A lot of us drink a lot. There's a lot of drinking in our community. So the drinking, the eating nyama choma, smoking when you're with your friends, if you can limit that, then you definitely are going to reduce your chances of having heart disease. Just doing everything in moderation, really. And like Masha was talking about going to the doctor, take advantage of your insurance. If you already have high blood pressure, which could be from genetics or whatever it is, take your medicine like you're supposed to. You know, check your blood pressure like you're supposed to. If you have diabetes, you know, watch your diet, check your sugar, you know, take your insulin like you're supposed to. If you do all these things and you do everything else in moderation, you've already reduced your chances by so much. That's really our take from all this. Lucy.
And maybe to add on to that, thank you so much, Monica, for those those very insightful ways of preventing. Those that are joining us right now, we are talking about ways of preventing heart disease, and we've talked. Our guest has highlighted to us mainly our lifestyle changes. So with that, I think we can also add that managing stress can also, if you're stressed, that can also lead. If you have arguments, there are people who don't know how to manage stress. You know, they don't know how to walk away. And if they walk away, they walk into a cigarette. They walk into alcohol consumption. So all these are counterproductive. So it's very important that we learn how to manage stress and also getting enough sleep. Maybe that's something also we can, maybe you can elaborate to us on, and being active. You know, there are people who are working, especially those who are essential workers. You are doing a 12-hour shift. Mostly people doing that, they've got no time to walk. And when they walk, they're taking the elevators instead of the staircases from one maybe floor to the other. So those are things that we need to encourage us to do. You know, parking, they say take parking further away from your destination. Take some time to walk. You can also play sports. I see there are people who even swim. There are people who even dance. I was in an organization where they, these days, employers are big in that. They're giving people places of work. At work, you have gym, you know. So it's good to capitalize on this. And they don't have even these lifestyles don't have to be expensive. You know, we always want to talk, the gym is sounding like something very expensive. No, you can walk 30 minutes with your child or walk to your nearest shopping center, to the nearest Walmart. I'm talking to myself, I don't do it, but I think that's a good thing to do if you have, of course, if it's safe for ladies. So all that said, I think it's important. Maybe Monica, you can talk, tell us about a little bit about sleep. Getting enough sleep, because most people are not getting enough sleep, and how is that contributing?
And that's what I was going to say, actually, when you talk about stress, is that for people to realize that stress is not just about mental. Stress can just be stress on your body, which can come from that. You're overworking yourself. You might be eating very healthy, you make time to work out, but you're overworking yourself. You're taking on too much. Maybe you've taken on too many family challenges and you're helping too many people and you're working yourself literally to your grave. That is what it means when you're working yourself to your grave. So that is where self-care comes in. And also being able to read your body. Read your body. You see, like, for example, for me, Lucy, I don't know about you, but I've always been somebody who would yo-yo with my weight, up and down, up and down. You know, weight is a struggle for most women.
Sure, of course, you're not alone.
Yeah, you know, when your body is talking to you, listen. You see, when your body is starting to tell you you're sluggish, you feel tired, you feel, you know, take a moment and be like, you know, I need to recharge, you know. So during lunch, instead of going to sit in the staff room, get out of the building and go make one lap around the building and come back. When your body starts to talk to you, listen to it. To it. So for plaque buildup, like we were saying, it can take time. But you will start to notice small changes, like feeling short of breath quickly, you know, feeling like it's taking you more energy to climb the same stairs that it didn't used to take you that much energy, you see? So when you start to now, that's when your body is talking to you. That's the time to act. Now, a Mediterranean diet, actually a diet that keeps you away from heart disease is not an expensive diet. It's actually it can be a very affordable diet. We're talking about eating beans, dengus, lentils, rice, you know, ugali, you know, and cutting out too much milk, all these juices and everything, and drinking more.
Let me cut you short about the ugali. The ugali, for those who are listening, maybe do not understand what ugali. Do you know, we're talking about the cornmeal, the fufu.
Meal.
How about that in moderation and its relation to diabetes? Is there any correlation? Because I'm sure all these, you know, are cousins. The heart disease, the blood pressure and diabetes, I call them the cousins. So how would you speak about that?
I think when it comes to diabetes, what most people don't understand is that you are trying to balance the sugar that you are taking in the food that you are taking in. That now gets converted into sugar into your body. You're trying to balance that with the insulin in your body. You see, You're trying to have a perfect balance so that you don't have too much sugar or too little sugar. You see?
Yes.
So I think sometimes people go to too much extremes when really you are trying to check how much sugar do I have in my body now before I eat. So if my sugar is already above where it's supposed to be, do I need some insulin if I'm going to eat now? A big meal, like a full meal. In between, if I'm going to take a snack, how is my sugar at that time before I take it's just a balancing thing. But now the regimen of having to poke yourself to check your sugar all the time, managing diabetes is difficult. I think it's important to be sensitive to that it's a difficult disease to manage, especially when you've come from eating without having to think too much before you put food in your mouth, Okay, if you come home and you're hungry, you just want tea, you just make tea and you sit and you have your tea, you see? So now you have to do so much and to be so cautious about eating, which can be cumbersome, it can be difficult, it can be frustrating.
Stressful and very stressful.
Which when people now get there, they stop checking the sugar. You see? So now they just eat. So it's not too much about what you're eating as much as the balancing of those two things. You see? So, and we struggle with that. That's a thing that we do a lot in school because we manage diabetes in schools. So I work as a school nurse and we have diabetic kids in schools, So there's that balance of having them come to the clinic, have their sugar checked before they have meals. Then maybe in between, they might feel tired. They're being sent to the clinic. It's because their sugar now has gone too low. Sometimes somebody's taking too much insulin. So it's that balance is not too much about the food.
Sure.
As much as it is about understanding the amount of sugar you're taking in and the balance between that sugar and the insulin in your body. You see?
That's a very good point. Thank you for elaborating about that, because most people do not understand that. And so how many hours, for anyone listener that's listening, how many hours of sleep is recommended for adults and for our young adults who are not even getting enough sleep?
They recommend 8 hours, usually. I don't think most adults get more than 6 hours, but I think anything below 6 hours is unhealthy. I think anything below 6 hours is unhealthy.
It's in between. So too little, too little and too much sleep can increase the risk of cardiovascular diseases because, if you're not sleeping well. Yes, that's important. Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
So I think the biggest thing now with diet is, how you were talking about the corner stores all everywhere. You see, part of educating the community is teaching the community about how much right they have. And so if you go to rich neighborhoods, you go to certain neighborhoods, and you find that they have walkways, they have parks, and when you go, they have healthy food stores. So when you go to you find proper grocery stores that have proper groceries, proper food.
Yes.
And then you go to poor areas and you don't find such things. It's very hard to find. So you have to go a distance to find a grocery store that has fresh fruits and vegetables. And you're more likely to find the corner stores that sell oodles and noodles and these other kind of junk foods. You're more likely to find a McDonald's than you are to find a proper grocery store that has fresh fruits and vegetables. That is where the trick comes in. And then you find that the reason is because you don't have so many of these stores because the people there cannot afford that food. You see? So there are not enough parks, there are not enough walkways. So what type of education do you take to this community about the importance of voting, being a part of building your community? Because in this
policy, that's where now policy comes in. Yes, because we need people who also understand, to be able, not only understanding, because there's one thing to get all this knowledge as we're speaking, because anyone could get this textbook knowledge, but then that is the big point you're bringing in, whereby we elect informed, educated people who know to implement, because implementation is the problem, is the challenge. We do not have policy implementers. We got to get people who will go and work for the mwananchi, the real person. Even in Kenya, and that's why I'm speaking Kiswahili here, because we need people who can effect these policies, including us. Why don't I go there and say, hey, I want to be the next something for the school, the PTA, start small from the PTO, right? And then rise up, and so that you can influence the food lunches. And I think this one time, my daughter, when my daughter was in middle school, I attended those meetings. I would go there and speak in those PTOs, where you are saying, hey, well, our lunches are this and this, and you will talk to the parents. So sometimes we think it's somebody else, but it starts with us, even parents, from PTO, small things, volunteering and speaking to the, engaging with the schools, engaging with our communities. Go ahead, Monica.
Yes, be a part of the change that you want to see. I tell people that all the time. Be a part of the change that you want to see.
Sure.
If you want this, if you want to live healthy, then you are the one that has to be a part of that change. It cannot be just your doctor trying to keep you healthy. You have to get up and be part of it, because just going to your doctor and getting medicine that you now take for your high blood pressure, and you just go home and all you do is take medicine for your high blood pressure. The one thing I would like to encourage is, eat the foods that you want your children to eat, So don't be the one that just says and then doesn't do, But most importantly, like we have said, majority of this comes from choice.
Sure.
Nature plays a big role, but majority of it comes from choice. Choice and knowing and acting. Like you said, knowing alone is not important. You have to know and act.
Yes.
So when the last time that we were here, we talked about marginalized communities, especially now, like in Kenya. And you come now to situations like this and taking this type of education back home. And the good thing with mostly back home is you're not dealing with people who are taking a lot of sugar, like in the villages or in the poor communities. That is not the issue, really. A lot of it is coming from, people have started to eat more processed foods in our country now.
Unfortunately, yeah.
And that is where you're seeing an increase in disease. In our country now, even when you go to the supermarket, I went to the supermarket, I was shocked. I thought to myself, it's like going to a grocery store in a developed country. Too much processed food now. Sure. And it's almost like now eating processed food is like a thing. When people come to your house and they open your fridge and they see this is how you people eat, it's like it's a thing that people eat like this. I remember there's a friend of my son, and every time my kids would go there, they would come and tell me how much they have. They have so much food. They have so many things. And then I tell them, well, we don't want those things here. You can eat them there when you go to visit, but when you come here, we don't want those things here because they're not healthy.
Sure.
They're not healthy. Yes. And, there are ways, the next time maybe we might talk about some healthy ways for children. You can even juice at home, invest in a good juicer. And you juice some fruits and you make your own popsicles. If your kids like popsicles, make for them popsicles from fresh fruits with no added sugars, and that's a healthy snack. That's a healthy snack
And
you can
I
have.
think we need that sooner than later, because summer is coming, and that is where we have a lot of indulgence, overindulgence. And something else I know, especially if they are middle schoolers, depending on the parents, and they also, every home has their own rules. But I think there are some key things that children can be taught to do, the teenagers, making their own smoothies. You don't have to go and buy a $10 smoothie. They can have that every morning. That's something I enjoy doing with my daughter. Every 6 o'clock, I'm there. We get the fruits, we get we do the smoothie. Because I know maybe she'll pick the wrong, I don't know what she's eating at school, but then I know she has at least her fruit, she has something. So things that's simple but practical things that we can adopt at home that are healthy. Starting our days healthy with fruits, with vegetables. We know even our teenagers, some of them don't like those fruits. So how you can incorporate that in a form of a smoothie that they like, and then put a yogurt, put a Nutri-Star, a shake or something. So I think those are very real healthy talks that we can have. I don't know how much time we have. Our time is almost up. So I think I
was just looking at some of I had missed some of the questions that people had asked. I hope eventually I ended up covering.
Okay.
But you see, when it comes to your home, with your children, take advantage of the period of time where you are the one calling the shots.
Sure.
Because eventually,
in charge.
Eventually, they will leave their house, your house, and they will go and make their own choices. But in the period of time when you're the one calling the shots, you don't buy, there's no juice in my house. I don't buy chips in my house. See, those are the things that now, for me, there are no sodas, there's no juice. Those things are luxuries. Yani, they are once in a while. Chips.
Sure.
Those things, they're not purchased, they don't come here.
Yes.
So in that, what you have in your home is the only choice that your children have to eat. They have to eat what is there.
And Monica, you're saying the right thing, because I remember telling a parent that, what, instead of stressing, because every time she went to sleep, the child would go back to the fridge. And I said, why are you buying it? That don't just, I say, I tell parents, why do we stress ourselves over, my child ate, or no. But I think here, whether we are calling, that's another thing, of course, of another day, we as parents, as much as we're calling the shots, we need also they need to understand.
Education.
Because if they don't understand, then they'll go to their friends. I really, really admire children who will come to my house, because they go somewhere and they say, I don't eat that,
Yeah.
There's some principles. So I think also some education where even when they go out, because they'll not be with us forever, they are saying, I do not need this. So this a relationship, a relational choice with the children saying, hey, do you need this? Do you really need it? Do you really need that orange juice? Well, you can eat an orange. And some of them like to eat whether it's mandarins and all those other fruits. So I think with the understanding, sometimes they don't have to, but with teaching and understanding, the children will understand. And then that way we'll also be able to eliminate some of this childhood obesity that we are seeing, like you're seeing in school. So I think it's very important, healthy discussion, and we can have that in the next few weeks on our children now that they're on holiday. We'll get you back and then we can discuss that.
I'm seeing there's someone asking questions. I think it's, I'm not sure how to say the name. Asking about cholesterol. Cholesterol is like a waxy substance.
Sure.
Like a waxy substance that comes from some of the foods that we eat. It's like sticky, come a wax. And so when you now have it in your blood, which we said it will come from some of the foods that you are eating. And you can find out by going on Google and just searching some foods that are high in cholesterol. Your body already makes some cholesterol. So now when you eat too much cholesterol, now that plus other particles and stuff, because it's a sticky substance, waxy, and other particles will stick to it. It now goes and sticks to the arteries. As the blood is flowing, they stick, ni kama grease that sticks to the arteries. The more it keeps sticking, eventually, if I were to draw, you will see a layer of buildup. It is coming from that cholesterol and other things, all that together.
All those saturated fats, you know?
Yes, and then that substance.
We need
yes,
to,
I think that's what he had asked.
Mm-hmm.
And also Alice, you asked where, okay, cholesterol comes from some of the foods that you are eating, and some of it comes from the body itself.
Mm-hmm.
And then you talked about how can you, Alice, the best thing you can do about losing weight is to exercise. Here is the trick about losing weight. You cannot lose weight if you don't decrease the number of calories that you are eating. So the first place to start is to find out how many calories am I eating every day. You can do that by downloading an app. If you have a smartphone, download an app like Noom or one of these fitness apps for dieting, and it will help you be able to put in the foods that you are eating every day. So you calculate the food that you ate today, everything that you ate, and then you see how many calories do you eat. So this is you being true to yourself. Now, for you to lose 1 calorie, I think you have to, for you to lose 1 pound, I think you have to lose how many calories? Is it 3,000? I could be wrong. Let me see. How many calories to lose?
While you're checking on that, it's important to at least just lose 10 pounds if you are overweight. You know, just losing 10 pounds, and now that is when you
will be good. So to lose 1 pound, I think you need to lose to reduce by how many calories?
So reaching and maintaining a healthy weight will also ease the burden of your heart, so that to improve that blood cholesterol and blood sugar.
Yes,
while you get your figures
of calories. I think it's 3,000 or something for you to lose 1. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. For you to lose just 1 pound. So now what you have to do is figure out how many pounds do you want to lose. A healthy weight to lose is like 2 pounds a week, not more than that. I think 2 pounds a week is healthy. So now if you need to lose 2 pounds a week, how many calories do you need to cut out of your diet? So you cannot lose weight without reducing the calories. How do you reduce calories? Either you reduce the amount of food that you are eating, or you burn those calories by exercising.
Sure.
So you can keep eating the amount. So if you have been eating 2,000, you can still keep eating the 2,000, but make sure you burn 500 every day. Okay? Then now you have reduced your calorie intake to 1,500. Or you can reduce your calories to 1,500 and still burn 500, and you see how many calories you have reduced, 1,000. So it's either you reduce the amount of food, or you burn those calories you're eating by exercising. I hope that helps, Alice. But there is no other way. Don't let anybody cheat you. There are no creams. There are no belts. It's a very simple science. You reduce calories.
We're spending so much on losing weight. Well, sometimes, and I know some people are disciplined, but I say for me, I don't have really that discipline. Like when I used to work in corporate, world, you would go take lunchtime or take a sister, have a buddy, accountability partner who is calling and saying, hey, or the Fitbit. Thank God for the Fitbit, and you have a buddy thing where you're holding each other accountable and working.
3,500.
Yes, because these are very important things to do. So if you cannot walk alone, get a buddy. If you have a Fitbit, some people have Fitbit. I have somebody who said, oh, my son bought me a Fitbit. I've not even opened it. They said, hey, put it on, get a buddy, get a friend, and then you hold each other accountable. You don't have to burn millions of dollars. So I think because of time, we are way ahead of our time. We've spent quite a bit. Maybe Miss Monica, you can summarize and then we'll close.
Yes, and if viewers feel like they would like a topic that goes more into detail about losing weight and maintaining it, we can also cover that.
Sure.
Personally, I've also been on my own weight loss journey since last year. I've learned how to lose it and maintain it. So I'm still kind of there. But, you know, weight loss is a struggle for many people. I think if you just look at it more from a lifestyle change point of view, like I just want to live healthier. And then the weight loss will come as a side effect of a healthier lifestyle, you know? So if you cut out, I'm telling you, people who eat a lot of, especially in our community, nyama choma, drinking and smoking, those three things, if you do them 3 times a week, cut out one day for now, and then cut out another day, and then choose to go and chill with your friends once in a week. But now don't make that day to be the one where you go and drink what you missed for the other 2 days.
It's one thing leading to the other, right?
Yes. So in short, heart disease can be managed because majority of the risks and majority of what causes it is something that can be controlled. Very little comes from just genetics and nature. Sure. So lifestyle changes is the key factor here. And these lifestyle changes mainly come from diet, exercise, smoking, drinking, those, and just managing stress. So knowing how to just have a balance and get enough rest. Try to get enough sleep. Most of us don't. But if anything, aim for 6 hours. If anything, aim for 6 hours. Yes. So Annie says that next time we should mix with Kiswahili. We are going to try. We are going to try next time.
There's sometimes we speak in Kikuyu, but I'm not in that panel yet. So maybe if you're good in that, you can. So next time we'll speak in Kiswahili. That's no problem. We can mix it up. Other than that, thank you so very much, Miss Monica, for your very insightful information on the heart disease. Last week we tackled high blood pressure, and we said it's a silent killer. And today you have given us more insights into that. Thank you so much. And we'll be calling you now that you are in the real world of our children. And we know most children now have juvenile diabetes. So it's important that we speak on that and speak to the parents. Parents, we urge you to send us your questions. We appreciate when you interact with us, because we just don't want to come here and read a textbook. We want to be interactive. We want you to speak to us. We are parents too. It's, we learn, and, you learn from us. So it's a two-way traffic. So thank you so very much for listening to us. Our topic today was about ways of preventing heart disease, and we found out that heart disease is the leading cause of death for men and women. And that was very important to know, that we can reduce that 80% by just lifestyles that are not expensive. Lifestyles should not be equated with money. In a way, you've got to buy the healthy things. So with that said, we say don't smoke. If at all. We know it's a bad habit. Some people I know even go to healthcare provider to be helped to quit. So if you are out there, do not know what to do, there is no shame. Approach your healthcare providers or have an accountable partner. And please, if you're smoking, it's important that this habit, we know smoking, like we had, constricts your blood vessels and forcing your heart to, work even harder, and of course affects your circulatory system. Be active, eat a high in fiber and low saturated fats, prevent or treat other health conditions. Like I said, high blood pressure with its cousin, the diabetes, and all those, other things that come. So it's one thing and the other. Control your weight. limit alcohol consumptions or not at all take it if you don't have to. Get enough sleep. Our nurse, our health educator, Monica, has told us at least have 6 hours, if not 8, which is also recommended. Manage stress. We came here, most of us diasporans. The dollar is good, but the dollar can also take us to the grave. Manage your life. Don't chase after the dollar. Somebody said, you might chase after the dollar, but you go back in a coffin because of the stress. So let's be careful. Let's manage our stress. Let's lead a contented life if we can. Even here, this is a faith. It's a family faith and health focus. Even on our faith, we got to learn to be contented. You don't always have to live like the Joneses. Be content. That's what God wants of us. And also get regular checkups, please. For me, I'll give my example. When I was not very good at my checkup, I always do my checkups the week of my birthday. I always urge, get something that will trigger you. Yeah. You celebrate that birthday that week, go have a checkup. Don't say I celebrated. Say I celebrated or do a day before. Then that way you can celebrate your health. So emotional health is important. Mental health is important. Spiritual health is important. And your physical health is important if you want to enjoy your life here on earth that God has given you. With that said, I think we'll come to the end of our show today, and we'll be coming back with Miss Monica. Thank you so very much, and we appreciate all our viewers. This is DMX Radio Show that was presented to you, powered by KEMEN, and I think our my co-host Alex signed off earlier, but thank you so very much for listening to us. You all have a good evening and have a good afternoon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Welcome to One Man at a Time, the KEMEN Show. Please like and subscribe to our channel.
The KEMEN Show. We are strong together.